Welcome to my Hebrew channel, Meal Break. I'm looking at Psalm 37, verses 1 and 2, and using an ancient version, an ancient copy of the text here of this psalm. Dates back to about 1,100 years ago, and it's known as the Sasson. The Sasson was sold in New York City at auction a year or two ago for the price of $38 million. Wow, this is pretty valuable. Fortunately, it was purchased by a group of people who got together and have sent it back to a museum in Israel, which I think is just the very best spot to have it available and have it on display and so forth. I'm not sure if it's on display at the moment, but with all the troubles they're having, but it is certainly good to have it also available to the public, and which is what we have here. They've done some very, very detailed photographs of it, and the photographs are online, and so it's a tremendous blessing to be able to look at it via the photographs. So it's and I use it. It can make it a little bit hard to read because, of course, it's very ancient text. Some parts of it aren't exactly clear after so many centuries, and parts of it have faded, of course, but it's still all there, and tremendous blessing to be able to see it and use it and make a study of it. So Psalm 37 is an acrostic. It's the first two verses. The first verse begins with an Aleph, so it covers those first two verses, and then verse 3 and 4 begin with a bet, and then so forth. It goes 22 sections in Psalm 37. Tremendous contrast between evil and good. It starts out with, oh boy, the evil people are carrying out with all kinds of stuff. But then the Lord responds, the Lord protects the righteous, and so there's a tremendous contrast of what happens with evil, what happens with good, and the hand of the Lord also in the middle of this, at some point making evil fade away and keeping the righteous protected, keeping the righteous in place. The inheritance of the righteous is firm, and so forth. So it's there's a tremendous contrast. We see this a lot in the Psalms. There's evil and there's good. That's a major theme of all of the Psalms. That there's evil in the world, however the Lord protects his righteous. So let's get on with the study. And the Psalm of David, Le David, of David, de David. By the way, I've put in translations here because I did the first version of this video and I jumped over a couple of the words. So I thought that's not good. I'm going to put the translation in here just so that I can stay connected to each word as I go. I know when I got to this word last time through, I wasn't exactly sure how to handle it, so I just jumped over it. Whoa, okay, confession is good for the soul, but this time we're going to go at it and take a good look at it. So anyway, here's Le David, of David. It's always good that when you're studying, especially in the Psalms, to have a person in mind. And some Psalms, like Psalm 23, wow, yes, that's very much the heart of a pastor. And David grew up as a pastor, a shepherd, and then to see all the experiences he went through, to facing troubles and so forth, but being led beside calm waters and so forth in Psalm 23. Here we also see experiences of David facing up with evil men and all kinds of stuff happening in the world. And then this is what happens to evil people. The first two verses here are a description of what happens to evil in the world. Next, verses 3 and 4 go on to, hey, what happens to the good people? So, and then the whole psalm will go back and forth with what happens with evil ones, what happens with good ones, sometimes right within the same verse, sometimes from verse to verse. But anyway, it's a very interesting contrast of evil and good. So let's get into the study here. Le David, to David. David, high possibility he was the author, although even if it's just simply a dedication, that's fine as well. Maybe somebody else helped him write it, somebody else wrote it and dedicated it to him. It's at this point in time, it doesn't make a lot of difference, actually. Just simply, okay, we don't know that, but that's fine. If it's David's, it's David's. If it's somebody else wrote it, that's okay too. It should be there. And if David didn't write it, then somebody should dedicate it to David anyway. In other words, it does reflect the life and heart of David. And of course, the heart of David was the heart that God looked at. So, Le David. And this one is, we get a chance to see the work of two scribes in our passage. The first scribe wrote the original material, okay? The original copy had an open sheet of parchment in front of him, and he got his little brush out and he wrote it all out and painted it all out on that parchment. And then a few centuries later, somebody went through it and said, some things are starting to fade out. Let's fix it. So you have, this is one passage, or this is one section, or one psalm right here, where some parts are going to be very obviously original, and some parts have been retouched. It's been covered. The retouched job helps us read it a little bit better, more clear. However, here and there, right here, right here, and that one right there, sometimes the retouch covers a doggish, covers an accenting mark. Doesn't. This one did almost push this letter from a kaf to a bet, but it's still mostly a kaf. So same as that one there. And so, and in modern translations, it'll be most clearly a kaf. Okay, so it takes a little bit more close scrutiny as to what's happening with each letter. So, but part of the joy of doing this kind of study. So, do not be angry with wicked men. Do not envy those who are doing evil. For as grass wilts quickly, they are cut down, and as the pale greenness of grass, they wither when they're gone. Yebalun. So, al titar bam bame reim al tikane beoshe avel avla ki ke har hatsir mehera yimalun u yerech deshet yibalun. And so, and do not, so this is a hortatory, don't do this. The law that is in Lamed Aleph is much more common way of saying no, but this one does work as well, and we see it scattered throughout the scriptures. Not as popular as the Lamed Aleph, but it also works as prohibition here. So don't, do not. The vowel pointing is a patah. If you put a serke in here, you'd really confuse people a lot, because that's also the way you would say power, or you'd say God. But good thing we do have a nice a vowel placed in here, telling us it's an ah. Okay, do not. This one's tit, tau, or hit. Well, hit, tithar, tithar. Okay, don't be angry. Don't be. And I said in the introduction, sometimes we'll have words that sound a little bit like modern words, and this is harassed. Don't be hot. Don't be angry. Don't be irate. Don't fret. Okay, tithar. Hitpail, which means causative reflexive. So don't be harassed in yourself, with yourself. Don't be angry or fret in yourself. So ba. There's a doggish here. I've missed in my first study. I've missed this doggish. Later on, I looked it up. Modern printings and did see that there is a doggish placed right in here. It is hidden right there. See, our person who did the highlighting covered up my doggish. So with the doggish, it means we're going to double up the mem right here. So bam mere im. In the evil ones, with the evil men. It's plural, evil ones. So with the evil ones, Raim is a very well-known root of being evil, based on Vrak here. So, and then you take a mem to make it a noun. Hirik mem is a plural, and then a ba is the preposition in, with, in or with. So don't be fret with or in evil ones. And then a nice adna, shuts off the very first little phrase here. And we move on to al tikte kane. Don't be envious. Okay, same prohibition here as you have here and here. So do not Al tikane, and do not be envious. Be, same be. Here we have a be just with a shua, and this one happened to have a pata on it. But don't be envious. Be oshe, those doing, those. This one is plural construct, participle of asa. Ayin sin hey. The hey has gone through assimilation. In its place, we have the setic yod, the plural construct ending of this particular participle. So, with the doers, the ones doing, be'oshe, of la. Shiva here is kind of hidden in here, almost covered up by the work that the second scribe did, but there is, and to have the vowel of this particular first syllable, it's up right down here. It looks a little bit like a revia, like a rafe down here, but no, this is the bata. So, avela, the evil one, doing evil. Now, those doing evil. Again, here, the fact that avel and evil kind of look a little bit the same is a little bit of help in helping us distinguish what it is. So, in other words, remembering it, mnemonic. So, avela, those doing evil. The word doing, hold on to that one, because into the next section, the acrostic that starts out with bet, we're going to see asa tov. We're going to see those doing good. Okay, so there's a contrast here: those doing evil and those doing good. In that one's also the second one through is hortorius, to do the good. Ki, because. Be ha zir, because as grass. Okay, because as grass. Ki. Now the corrector almost pushed this one over into a bet. It's still a cough, and did cover up the dagish here. So we do have to pronounce here. I had to be careful to pronounce this one. You have to be careful to pronounce this one as a soft cough, and this one's a hard cough because of the dagish. The dagish did get painted over here with the retouch. So ki, ke, hatsir, because as grass. Mehera, very quickly. Meher is happens fast. Okay, mehera, as grass, very fast. Is very fast. Yamalu, and that is cut away. Yamal. The mem lamed is the same root that we find in. I just finished the study of Genesis, and there we have the Lord speaking to Abraham, saying, "Yamal, cut off, circumcised." Same root we used for cutting circumcision. So this one's cut off the grass. Okay, just as grass is cut away. When you harvest grass, you cut it off from its roots, and it dries very quickly. So, and this is what happens to evil people in the world. For a while, boy, they're out there. They're powerful. They're green. They're look like going great guns, but very soon they are cut away. So this is what happens to evil. Ki behatzir mehara mehera yimalu, cut off. They are cut off. Can be also translated with the plural. They will. Will be cut away. Surik here. Yerech. Double segolate right here, and this is the pale greenness. That's right, this one here. I jumped right over this word last time I did the study, so that's why I'm doing it again. So yerech, because as the pale greenness, in other words, this grass is somewhat close to dying anyway, because as the pale greenness of deshet, of the green plant, the word even used in modern Hebrew for lawns. Okay, so the greenness of the lawns. So yerech deshet. And again, both of these, this one is segolate and also accenting towards the front, towards the miled. So as the greenness of the green, yibolun, this then withers, yibolun. Now there's a couple ways of remembering this particular word. One of them is a name that we know of. One is Nabal. Nabal is the was the husband of Abigail, and the word means foolishness. Now, foolishness is unstable. Foolishness wilts off. When it faces truth, it has to wilt away. So that's what Nabal is. And Nabal is very much an example of what we're seeing here in this portion. There was a time, wow, he looked rich. He had lots of sheep and goats and so forth. And then when David sends his men over to participate in some of the good stuff that was being distributed in the party, Nabal says, no way, I don't know this guy. And what happens to Nabal? He fades out very quickly. Okay, so go on. And you're going to look for his spot, and he's not there anymore. So incidentally, there's another one. I was looking at this. There are numerous places in the valley of Jordan, and their names are called Avel, Avel Bet Mokah, Avel, so forth. So they begin with Avel, and Avel is something that is the dew or the wet early morning moisture that's out there in the valley, and that's why these places are part of the Jordan Valley, close to the river, and then as the sun comes up, it melts away real quickly. So this is another route that we'll see here. Remember it through Aved. You can remember it through Nabal, but the Bet Lamed is the one that fades out quickly. So wilts. Okay, Yebalun. Now we have a sudik right here. We have a sudik right there, and this particular sudik also ends up, or this particular verb here ends up with a nun at the end. I regard this as an emphatic nun. It pumps up the strength of what this last verb is doing. And in translation, that was almost they wither, really wither, or they wither quickly, or it disappears fast. Okay, so there's an emphatic nun here, ending this particular last verb right here. So yibalun, they fade away. What happens in life when we look at history? You just look at the news that occurs on a daily basis. There's so many times that evil seems to run this world. Somebody's starting a war, somebody's defrauding somebody, or somebody's doing something, somebody's polluting, somebody's doing something evil in this world. And you would say, oh boy, what is this world, coming to, and so forth. But when you study the history of what happens to those who have done evil in the world, they eventually run their course, sometimes sooner, sometimes later. But later on, when you have to study the history of these people, you find out, oh boy, that did not go well. And one reason we would study history is that we don't want to repeat those evil things happening. It's unfortunate that this world tends to repeat the evil that happens in this world. But those who are righteous, those who are of the Lord, have to look at it and do all that we can to try to stop it, or to at least hold it back. And we have to live with the confidence we'll see in this particular psalm that God also does restrain the evil ones, and at some point in time will make that evil person disappear. And I'm pretty sure at some point in time that evil person will be facing the torture of the eternal fighters. So I'm not the kind of person always saying, okay, hell awaits you. No, I would like to proclaim the goodness of God, but most certainly there is a justice of God, and most certainly it does happen that those who are evil in the world at some point run their course, and at some point are going to be facing judgment for it. And some of these people most certainly are suffering eternal damnation. So, understand what happens in this world, have a good look of how it works, and this psalm helps us do this. There's evil in the world. What happens to them? They're cut away like the grass, and their greenery, the good stuff that they are showing, disappears, wilts out, and it's thrown into the fire. So this is one of the beautiful things of understanding the reality of what happens to evil in this world. And it must be our prayers that if there is certain evil, we should be in prayer that that evil will come to an end, and if possible, come to an end quickly. So God bless and God strengthen you in this day, and until the next time.